Hi, um, I'm Lynn Bish, and I'm doing recording today. Usually, I had decided that I was going to do Wellness Wednesdays, and um, I wanted to do a recording today because August has always been an interesting month for me, and part of it is that I went through an experience on August 5th, early in the morning. I lost one of my dearest friends, which is my Gordon setter, Danica, who I've had for about 5 years. And, I really thought long and hard about what, you think about when you do these kinds of videos and the subject matter and those kinds of things. And so I've been in a great deal of reflection. She was an amazing dog. She had graced my life 5 years ago, over 5 years ago, and I've had Gordon setters for 28 years. And I think probably my first Gordon setter well over 45 years ago, and fell in love instantly. And the very first Gordon setter came into my life when, after I lost my husband to cancer, after 6 weeks after our son was born, Arthur, who was an amazing man, graced our life as well. And we had a son named Christopher. And August has been interesting because both of my children, Jennifer and Christopher, were born in August. They're 20 years apart, a day apart. So August 9th, August 10th are their birthdays. And so it was interesting because when Art passed around Christmas time, Chris was about 4 months old. And I've always been a sucker for dogs. I grew up in a household that treasured dogs. My parents had dogs. They had Kerry Blue Terriers. My grandmother had Airedale Terriers. And we've had a smattering of all different kinds of dogs in our lives. I've had all different kinds of dogs in my life, and I am a dog lover to the nth degree. They've graced my life and are my dearest friends and companions. And I currently have a very sad golden retriever. He's my first one, Sunny Day, who came to me from Wyoming from one of my breast cancer patients. And he is, as I am, sad to lose his best friend, but also he's an amazing dog, and I know that we'll both be fine. The reason I wanted to share this video today is that as I said, I've been graced with the love of Gordon setters for over 28 years. I've had 4 of them. And I had my first one, I got at Christmas time when Chris was about 4 months old. Of course, I got it for him, but she was really for me, and her name was Kelly. But I guess the things that I really wanted to share today, and was to really watch this amazing spirit that lived with me for over 5 years. I almost lost her, I think, about, as my son reminded me the other day on the phone, she lived another year past last year when she was diagnosed with they call it immune-mediated hemolytic anemia, which is a blood dyscrasia, a blood disorder. She had platelets that were threateningly life-taking. I mean, they were in the 40,000, which is incredibly low for a dog. I had a great vet, Dr. Nick Julien, that really helped to support and maintain her. And we worked a lot to really bring her back to life. And she did come back to life. And she, as I said, with my dogs, they're kind of my constant companions. They're my best friends. Dogs, to me, are, they're remarkable because they're a lot easier than people, I think, because they just love you unconditionally. They're always glad to see you. They may get into mischief, but they are there and they're always in the moment. And the reason I wanted to do this video today was it was amazing for me because as I went through the last stages of Danny's life, Danica, she was fine in the morning, and I had shared a video videos on Facebook and a picture on Facebook of Sunny and Danny in their swimming pool out in the backyard, and Sunny being the hose monster and all that kind of stuff because we have a lot of fun. And they run next to me on my recumbent bike. They're great dogs, and I am blessed by having dogs in my life. I really don't know what I would do without a dog. And Sunny's going to come over right now as I'm doing this because he hears me talking about him. But the thing that as I reflect back over the time that I spent with Annie, one of the most amazing things was I think about the actual day. She passed away at 4:42 on August the 5th in the morning, and we went through about a long night of watching her change and transition to the next phase of wherever we go. And hopefully, you know, she's with all my other pups that are running grandly and free. And so in the morning, she was great. I mean, she ate and got her treats and did all of that. And I really, you know, have noticed probably over the last several months, I don't know if it's several months, maybe last couple of months, that there's been subtle changes. You know, I could see some sadness in her eyes, and there were different things that occurred that were just really subtle. So when the change came on that evening, Sunday evening, I, in some respects, was not surprised. And she graced my life with being here during that period of time, and graced my life with her leaving. And I'm grateful that I'm a nurse, because I could help her in those transitions. And she shared her last stages of her life with me here at home. And so the reason I wanted to do this video today is some of the things that I think are really important in this is that what I recognized is that these dogs, these great creatures that live with us all the time, they're really present and they're in the moment. It's like I looked at her life, and even that day, she was present, she lived her life, she lived it richly and fully. And, you know, I had the great blessings of working with breast cancer patients over the last, 5.5 years. And it was interesting because I was supposed to meet with one of my breast cancer patients that evening, and had to not be able to meet with her because of the fact that Danica had gone through some significant changes. And I could tell that there was something that wasn't right, and that, things were going to change significantly for her that evening, hoping for the best and knowing that perhaps that it wasn't going to be. So it's interesting because I think that one of the greatest lessons in all of this is that we really need to be present and engaged and recognize the fullness and richness in our lives. That Saturday evening I was listening to the news, and they had talked about a shooting, and there's been a couple of significant shootings, again, mass shootings in this country. And a couple of years ago when I created the summit, I developed the summit because I wanted to really address integrative health and medicine, because I think it's really important to really look at the body and all the different ways that the body functions. And I know the last video I did, I talked about, the importance of really being your own advocate in your healthcare, because I think it's important, but it's really recognizing and understanding how we connect to the body. But on another whole platform, one of the reasons that I connected and started doing the summit, and why I'm doing, some reason I'm doing these videos, is that I think that there's a sense of a loss of hope in this country. And I really would like to work to help probably restore and put some of that hope back into our world. I don't know how to do it any other way. I help people. I'm in service to patients, and I've been called by Grand Design to be here and be in service. And I'm really, truly grateful for that. Just like I'm grateful for the presence of my dogs, and I'm grateful for my life, and was reminded again of this as I went through the transition with my grand dog on Tuesday morning. And then you recognize the richness of the people that you have in your life, and you're grateful for those people, and you're grateful for your life experiences, and you're grateful for humor, and you're grateful for all the different things. And I'm hoping that, as I reach out with these videos, that the other thing that I learned, and really learned it very explicitly with breast cancer patients and cancer patients in general, was the lessons of hope and healing, and how important all of that is in the presence of that in our life, and how significant that is. Because without that, I think that we tend to be lost at sea a little bit. And I wonder, and there's a lot of discussion around, the gun laws in this country and the atrocities that are happening and the loss and the sense of grief and sadness and all of these things that are impacting families and our nation in today's world. And it really makes me wonder, when do we start to really recognize and reach out to each other and develop some hope and kindness? So it's not a discussion of I can't change the world. I know that when I became a nurse, one of the things that I learned is that I could impact change one person at a time. And that became really important to me. And that's always been my motto, my kind of my blanket statement about where I am in this world and how important it is to affect change one person at a time. But the other thing that I really learned that was really valuable in all of this is how important hope is in our lives and how important it is to help others find hope. And even in the process of living and dying, there's always hope. There's always a rainbow. There's always miracles. There's miracles in every day. And I think it's really important to understand and look for those miracles, that even when life seems really dark, that you can wake up and you can see the brightness in the world and see the beauty that's around you. And I think sometimes we're disconnected from that. We're disconnected because we've become, the technology is so great in today's world, and we have access to so many things and instant gratification and all those kinds of things that in some respects are fine. I mean, I think that part of the human condition is that we please whatever it is in us that needs to be pleased. But I also think that there's also a deep sense of awareness that needs to be awakened in us and brought forward in a kindness to others. My dogs have taught me that. My dogs have taught me about the loyalty, about just being there and being present and being in the moments with me when, they brighten my spirit when I've come home. And I see that in them, and I saw it in my dog, Danica, the other morning, as she was making her transition to the next, part of whatever life's journey is in this process of dying. We all do it. I always say we have a date of expiration stamped on our forehead. We just can't see what it is. And I think that the important part about that is that we embrace the moments while we're here. And we really learn to connect and share and be present and grateful. I'm feeling very blessed in many respects. My friends have called and said, don't get a dog right away. Don't get another dog right away. I've never not had 2 dogs or more. And and there's been all kinds of interesting stories about are you going to get a big dog, or are you going to get a little dog? You should probably get a little dog, and all these kinds of things. So it's interesting. But the blessings in all of it is that I have been graced by not only wonderful friends, I've been graced by a wonderful life and wonderful patience, and a family that has faced challenges throughout my lifetime. And I think we all do. We all are faced with different occurrences and different things that go on throughout our lives. And I think it's important to reestablish and really start to look again and know that on each and every day, there's something that can be found that can be wonderful. And it's just opening up our eyes and recognizing the beauty within our own selves. And sometimes that gets lost by all the things that we're inundated with and the choices that we can make in this world and the different things that we encounter as far as, are we good enough, and are we pretty enough, or are we attractive enough, or are we handsome enough, or all those kinds of things, because we're hit by media and we're hit by the different circumstances that, really kind of alter and make us look at ourselves. And I think it's really important to start looking inward and really recognizing that, I look at my life and I think, gosh, I do it the very best I can. I've made a lot of mistakes. I'm not perfect by any means, but I'm in there and I'm trying. And I think that it's important. I'm grateful for the opportunities, and I'm grateful for the mistakes oftentimes, because they're some of my best learning platforms. But even when I made the mistakes, I know that I've tried, and I've tried to do the best I can. And the other thing that I think is important is to live without any regrets. You get questioned by things that happen in your life. You get questioned by circumstances and by conditions and people and whatever. And it's hard to stay true to yourself sometimes. It's hard because things get questioned and you wonder and you grow in that. I think that you grow and you learn and there's different circumstances that arise. And if you're fortunate, you can reach within and you can see the goodness within yourself and the goodness that needs to shine outward, because the beauty really is within. You hear that, it's like the old adage and it makes you wonder, but it really is. And I think as I've grown older, I'm really starting to understand that it is my inward essence that comes forward. It's my inward energy that really is important to share and bring to others, to really bring the opportunity to be in that human experience with someone else and to be vulnerable, to be open. Vulnerability is tough. Vulnerability is it's hard to be vulnerable. It's hard to be in circumstances where you're really opening yourself up because we're afraid of being hurt. And I think it's important to be vulnerable and to be real, authentic, whatever that means. I think being aware to show up in your own self, and I think that comes over time. I don't know. I am always amazed when I see young people and how they're graced with the presence of mind and the opportunity to be present and really be engaged and have the foresight to be within their own beings and be able to share that with somebody else. So the blessings come today in taking this opportunity to share with you. I had an amazing experience the other night going through this transition with my wonderful dog. I've had dogs upon dogs upon dogs, and I can't ever imagine not having a dog in my world. They're great animals, and I love animals. Not everybody does, not everybody understands them, but I am an animal lover, but I am a dog lover. And as I said, Gordon Setters graced my life for over 28 years, and there's a presence to them, a spirit to them. They're they're an amazing dog. They're stubborn and they're independent, but they're loving as all get out, and they're absolutely stunningly beautiful to me. But I love my golden retriever as well. He's my very first one, and he came blessed to me by one of my breast cancer patients from Wyoming. So he's quite a guy. So anyway, I wanted to just share today. I wanted to just bring forward, I think that a message of hope, a message of healing, a message of understanding that despite things that happen in our lives, and we are faced by challenges and loss, I am wondering how the loss of all of these people that were recently going through these mass shootings, again, going back to that, the vibrations of that throughout our culture, you just wonder, when is it going to stop? When are we going to put the arms down and not be afraid to love each other, not be afraid to take a moment and just be present, not only in our own lives, but in others' lives. And remember that the presence of each day, the presence of each moment even, is so important. And I think I learned that best when I was working with cancer patients. They're present in their, as I said, I was going to meet with this amazing woman the other day, and I've had the pleasure of meeting with many of them in my years at working with cancer patients. But the amazing thing was that she's been dealing with breast cancer for 9 years, metastatic breast cancer. And she has a ranch, she has dogs, she has horses, she has, cattle, and she's an amazing woman. And, having the courage and the fortitude just to take another day and live it well and be spiritually connected to the world around her. And she and I have gone in and out through many different changes in her process with this disease process. So part of it is not only paying a tribute to my amazing dog Danica, but paying again tribute to my not only my cancer patient, but my cancer patients and the people that struggle with disease and struggle with disease of all sorts, if it's mental, if it's physical, whatever the disease process is. You know, I want to offer hope and offer that there are different ways to look at the world. There's different opportunities. And just a message today of how much and how important this is for all of us, I think. So I want to thank you today for listening, if you did. I'll release this on Facebook, and then I've been doing a YouTube channel weekly. I was calling it Wellness Wednesdays, but I'm cutting this a little bit early because I wanted to get it done and get it released, because I think it's really important. At least it's important to me. Take with it what you will. I hope that in some regards that it helps, because that's part of my mission, I think, in the world today, is to be there to help and to help others make their lives a little bit easier, and to face and be present in the hope of health and healing. So blessings for the day. Thank you. And thanks again. My best.